Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? I certainly hope you're doing fine. And since I'm sitting here with you, I got to tell you something. I'm doing fine too. I am. And I would like to say a very heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you out there for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. And I would like to welcome all of you to another episode of TJ's Topics. I tell you what, I am truly honored and delighted to be with you and to have you with me as well. I consider it a joy, an honor, and a privilege to be able to come into your presence on any given occasion. Oh, I tell you, and there is no better occasion to come into your presence than today, at this very moment. Whatever time you're watching this video, please know that your support and your viewership means the world to me. And I am truly grateful for you for all of that. Now, today I do have a little topic that I would like to share with you. And this topic comes to me as a result of something that happened. And let me just say that it was sort of I don't want to say a tragic situation, but it was a devastating situation. But sometimes people have a certain mindset that they have a difficult time letting go of. And that is especially true for those who are Christians, who have been indoctrinated to the point where they are totally against trying to, think differently. They're totally against um, receiving any new information or adapting or adopting to a new understanding, new knowledge. They they have a problem with that. And another thing that Christians have a problem with is taking accountability for their own actions. And they always want to blame everything that happens to them on some unseen being, that being the devil. But everything is not the devil's fault. That is my topic for today. Everything is not the devil's fault. Everything is, and they refer to the devil as an enemy. And so that is what I'm trying to tell you. Everything is not the enemy's fault. They're sort of interchangeable. The enemy or the devil, whichever one you want to refer to him as. Because the truth of the matter is, all of that is within us. I mean, we can have God-like personalities and be sort of, do good things, but then we can turn around and do some devilish type stuff as well, and so all of that is wrapped up inside of us. So we don't have to look outside of ourselves to find the devil. And we don't have to look outside of ourselves to find God either, because God is on the inside of us. The Spirit of God dwells within each and every one of us. Now, how did I come to this topic for today? Everything is not the enemy's fault or the devil's fault. Well, I just found out yesterday, and yesterday meaning the day before the actual filming of this video, that my childhood church caught a fire. It caught fire as a result of, and you know what? I don't want to say exactly what caused the fire, but I will tell you what I believed caused the fire. Now, it hasn't been confirmed yet what caused the fire. Now, maybe by the time this airs, we may know what caused it. But I do believe that the church was struck by lightning. And now let me say this, and I'm trying to be very careful with what I say. Now, some of the members of the church have gotten gone online, on their page and everything, saying that the enemy tried to destroy them. They're blaming all of this on the devil. But can I just reiterate this message? Everything is not the enemy's fault or the devil's fault. But I do believe that when the fire took place, perhaps it was the result of what has been going on for all these last few days, these last 4 days leading up to the actual event taking place. Because we have had severe thunderstorms for 4 days in a row in this area, in this tri-state area, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. We have had a series of thunderstorms, one after another. Lightning, and it's been a lot of rain. People have experienced flash flooding. I mean, streets flooded. People have drowned, gotten killed in tornadoes, different things like that. Oh, it's been a mess. Well, when this fire broke out at my old church, my old, I call them old stomping ground, I firmly believe that it was caused by a lightning strike. Now, I don't know for sure if that's what caused it, but I do believe that's what it was. I believe that the church was struck by lightning because it was a severe thunderstorm taking place at the time the fire broke out. No one was there, which was a blessing. And from what I saw, looked like the fire started over in the old in the fellowship hall, which was back then the original sanctuary. That's where I was baptized at when I was 11 years old. But now, let me get to what I'm discussing as the topic, that everything is not the enemy's fault. Well, there are certain members who are saying that the enemy was trying to destroy them and, attack them by way of destruction of the building with the fire. And oftentimes we hear Christians pinpoint bad situations taking place in their lives with, accusations against some outside force or unseen being, that being the devil. They tend to blame everything on this arch enemy. And I don't know why that is. I mean, it's been going on for generations, and we have heard it time and time again. The devil made me do it, or this ain't nothing but the devil, or it's that old devil trying to rise up and all that kind of stuff. I mean, just everything that happens bad, according to them, is the devil. Sickness, that's the devil. Being fired from your job, that's the devil. Bankruptcy, that's the devil. Divorce, that's the devil. Child out there on drugs, that's the devil. An unplanned pregnancy, that's the devil. Car being repossessed, that's the devil. What Donald Trump is doing in the White House, Elon Musk and everything, that's the devil. But what do you think? Do you all believe that there is some unseen being out there controlling everything by making his little imps do this and that to manipulate the minds and lives of people, causing them to do all this dirt? Do y'all believe that? Because there was a time when I used to believe that kind of stuff, and I believed it all the way up until age 36. Once I turned 36 years old, I let that go. And I let it go as a result of learning the true definition of the word wretch. And when I was led to get up early one Saturday morning in September of 2016 and turn all the way to the back of the dictionary that I had laying on my nightstand to look up the meaning of the word wretch, and I read it right then and there, I knew that it was not descriptive of me. It didn't describe my personality, my mentality, or anything else. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the word wretch had nothing to do with me. So in that hymn, Amazing Grace, you know, how sweet the sound that saved the wretch like me. It was the man who wrote the song. Those were his words, but they're not mine. And they're not yours either, because you shouldn't consider yourself as a wretch. And anytime things happen, no matter what it is, it's life. Life is filled with things, all types of circumstances and situations that take place sometimes. And sometimes people will say and do things in an attempt to hurt us. But we come to this earth to learn lessons, valuable lessons at that. But I just simply don't believe that there is some invisible being out there messing with all of this stuff on this planet. Because if there is, seem like there ought to be a way to nip it and nip that enemy in the bud. Get rid of the enemy and you have solved all your problems. That's all you have to do. Why is it that over 2,000 years later, Christians are still fighting against the devil? And yet God, and Jesus have all power. So shouldn't they have enough power to get rid of the devil? I mean, that's just a question I'm asking. And if so, don't you think that would wipe out all of the mess that's going on this earth, and that we all could live happily ever after? There wouldn't be any reason for people to have to pray for peace and got to got to keep on fighting and pressing on, and all that would be over with, because there wouldn't be any enemy to have to wrestle with. Now those are just my thoughts, and you have your thoughts. And if you believe that there is some red being out there with pointed horns on his head and a long tail and pitchfork trying to poke you in your butt, well, so be it. That's your belief. But I have my beliefs. But I'm going to tell you this. It's one thing to believe something, but it's another thing to know something. And we are no longer in the age of believing things, but having been a part of the 21st century now for 25 years, we ought to be so far beyond believing things. We ought to be at the point now where we know things. We are in the age of information and knowledge. And so we don't have to just go along with everything anymore that we've heard or was taught, because we can research matters for ourselves. So I just want to leave you with that. Everything is not the enemy's fault. If that enemy is the devil, or who you consider to be the devil, okay. But anybody can be an enemy. Your neighbor can be an enemy. Your so-called friend can be an enemy. Your classmate can be an enemy. Your coworker can be an enemy. Your supervisor can be an enemy. Anybody can be an enemy. It doesn't have to just be some being out there in space. Well, but I'm going to leave it at that. And you just tell me what you think. Do you believe in the enemy and that he's messing with you? You just share your thoughts, and please feel free to leave a comment and I will reply, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in today to this episode of TJ's Topics. And be sure to tune in again next time. And I tell you what, I'll be looking forward to seeing you then, okay? This is Taryn Jerome Harris, reminding you that every round goes higher and higher. Ha! I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.